the absence of that vision, what you have is pick your dystopia, right? Is it Barbie dystopia or is it RuPaul dystopia? And I don't think RuPaul is inherently dystopia, right? RuPaul is old enough that RuPaul was traditional drag, which sure was never my thing either. But the point is there any harm really in guys dressing up as women and, parading themselves in front of an audience? I don't know, but I think the harm was...
Well, I guess increasingly, I do wonder how it is that we have arrived at a cultural moment, where it is universally understood that blackface is wrong.
Right.
And it is almost widely pushed that womanface is not just fine, but honorable.
Yep.
I increasingly do not see the difference.
Well, the problem here is that we have screwed up the blackface problem, right? Because it is such a flashpoint. The point is, a prohibition against all blackface is almost sensible. Now, it becomes not sensible when we talk about the character Roger in Mad Men, who has to put on blackface to portray a prior world in which blackface was a thing.
Right.
But the problem is, minstrel show is inherently mocking of black people, right? That's the reason that blackface has the connotation that it does.
Having just been in a drag show, Brett,
Yep.
I would say that drag show is inherently mocking of women. That's the position I'm arriving at. So
this I agree,
Yeah.
but the point is, even buried within the question of drag versus trans, the problem is we know trans people who adopt the demeanor of the other sex, and they do not do so disrespectfully. And we know others who do so disrespectfully. And that, I guess my point is, you can't make a rule based on whether or not somebody is respectful or not, because how would you be able to establish it one way or the other, which is why we get into these false binaries. But there are at least two motivations there.
let me read. I'm not going to end up reading the whole thing, but I've got two more sections.
Sure.
Let me read the first of the two sections. While feminism is getting a facelift over in Barbie Land, RuPaul's Drag Race is playing at the boundary between drag and trans. These are men dressing as women, not men who think they are women, right? Right? Sometimes it's not particularly clear. Some of the RuPaul drag queens, my scant post-event Googling revealed, have indeed come out as trans. The distinction is whether the caricature of womanhood that they are creating and displaying is one that they feel like taking off at the end of the day. Drag didn't used to be confused about this. But Barbie the movie seems perfectly happy to add to the confusion. In Barbie Land, woman is a costume to begin with. Upon arriving at a meeting of Mattel executives, stereotypical Barbie despairs at the lack of women in the C-suite. I'm a man with no power, offers the intern in attendance. Does that make me a woman? Well, no, Aaron, it does not. In both the drag and Barbie confections, the focus is on surface appearances and illusions, the clothes, the makeup, the hair. In Barbie Land, many other things become fashion accessory as well, the house, the job, the man. And in both, womanhood itself is a costume, something to be taken on and off at will. One of the Barbies in the film is played by a trans woman, and so the farce is complete. I got the role because I fit the role, explains Hari Neff. To be honest, I don't look much different in the movie than the Barbies that I had when I was a kid. Barbie is an impossible fantasy. Her phenotype obtainable only through a combination of obsessive focus on how you look and plastic surgery. At least with drag, you don't need the surgery.
Yeah, I'm reminded, I mean, the whole world is so polluted by advertising, but I'm reminded of a Dove campaign from years ago in which they actually showed what it took to take a model and turn her into the thing that one sees in an advertisement. And the answer was, it actually is physically beyond the capacity of an Earth woman to be what is often presented in advertising, and it requires Photoshop and the stretching of necks and the reproportioning of things to take even an attractive woman, and an arms race has unfolded. Yep. And the problem, somewhere...
So next up, anime.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere
And as soon as you can
lost.
stretch bits, and I mean,
Right.
that's-
As soon as
that's
as
right
soon
where
as
you
it's an
are.
avatar, and the point is, well, what are you really into? It doesn't have to be connected to reality.
Right.
Right. So
You like that? You want more of that? We can give you more of that.
now, again, the connection to market forces is very troubling to me. But the idea that Ivory Girl was a trope that was resonant enough that anybody our age knows what that means, right? The girl next door, that these were things that were understood not to be in conflict with beauty, right? This was a reduction in dedication to artificial beauty
Yes.
and an emphasis on natural beauty. And unfortunately, in the world trapped between the two gutters of RuPaul's Drag Race and Barbie Land, what's lost is a future in which women are not hobbled for hours a day making sure they looked just so, but they can in fact be human and do what humans do and it not be thought ugly.
Okay, one more section. But before we go there, I will say that I'm not reading a lot of this, including my analysis of the really unfortunate depiction of the relationships between the sexes in Barbie Land. The stuff between the Barbies and the Kens is kind of diabolical, actually. So please go and read that here. But I feel like we've
Diabolical, and it is the thing that I believe is most inconsistent with the idea that Barbie Land is in some sense the conservative gutter, right? The depiction of the relation between the sexes, as I understand it from you, I haven't seen the film, but is much more of the postmodern anything goes left than
No, not at all. It's either men rule or women rule, and you can keep having men and women fight over who it's going to be. You go Barbie Land, Kendom, Barbie Land, but what you cannot absolutely cannot have is both sexes actually having power at the same time.
But isn't it anti-monogamy? Doesn't it?
Yes, but that is not what you were just talking about.
No, it is. I mean,
Anyway, it's yes. There's. I don't think you quite have it right, because I think that this piece, it feels very much like a unfortunate. It's like it's the stupid left response to the stupid right, where the stupid right is like, men just need to be in charge 100% of the time, all the time. You see what happens when you let women start to get in charge. And the stupid left is going like, oh, well, maybe Barbie was possible after all. Maybe we can have a world in which there aren't even any male Supreme Court justices. And like, those are our two options? Since when are those our two options? Anyway, I mean, I could read that part, but let me I think I'm not going to. I'm just going to read one more section here.
Yep.
You can go ahead and show my screen. Just another little still from the RuPaul's Drag Race. Here we have Asia, the host, with their back to the camera, attractive, tall, curvy, and I have no idea how to pronounce this, Deja Sky, maybe. The other fan favorite, another absurd-looking sort of caricature of, I don't know, the Disney princess? I don't even know what. Costume changes are a large part of both shows, of course, not just between acts, but during acts. It's magic meets fashion. Trusting your eyes and watching them fail you as again and again something new shows up underneath what you thought was the base layer. Humans as onions, the metaphor revealed through fashion. In Work the World, occasional big black conical breastplates are reminiscent of 1980s Madonna. The bouncing rolls of fat most definitely are not. Everything is sexual. Some of the sex is violent. The misogyny is sometimes stark. The word cunt, always spelled out rather than said as a word, is spat out several times. Why? Why does one drag queen ask another to look at your C-U-N-T? Is it disturbing just for the sake of being disturbing? Is this a dare? When not telling someone else to look at the genitalia they patently do not have, the drag queens are all about bringing the attention back to themselves. Look at me while I do nothing of note. Look at me while I work it. Look at me, look at me, look at me.